Hi everyone, my name is Chris Martin. Welcome to Keto with me. It is day 16 on my journey back into keto. New to my channel, check out my day 0 video. It gives you the reasons and details as to why I created this daily video series. Let's get to the clip. All right, that was my day 16 clip. It was a pretty good day overall, though I did have, a couple things I need to, share with you, just to kind of tell you I made a mistake, and then also I kind of dealing with just a very small issue right at the moment, but I'm sure it's going to pass. And that might be funny here in a second when we talk about it, because we've started to talk about this again. But let's get to the numbers first. So as far as carbs yesterday, 29.2 or something like that. I'm not really pleased with that. We'll get to that in a minute. My blood glucose was 84. So that's 2 times in 4 days that it's been under 90. So I'm really tickled with that. I can't tell you how tickled I am with that. And even better, my ketones are at 2.1. So things are moving at where I want them to be in order to be able to start to lose weight. So those two numbers working together will the lower your glucose gets, and the higher your or at least stay at that range, your ketones, the better opportunity to lose weight, the better opportunity to trigger autophagy, which is something that I'll share in an upcoming video from either Dr. Boz or Dr. Berry or someone else that will help you understand the benefits of that. It's just like really, really cool. I had no movement. There's another joke here in a second. No movement on my weight. It stayed at 220. So that gives me a running total of 14.4 since the beginning. So 16 days, I feel like I'm doing great. As far as my macros are concerned, 78% on the fat, 7% for carbs, and 15% for protein. So even with the jump into carbs yesterday, it still was a pretty good overall day for me. So I keep hinting at something happen or not happening. So once again, I'm for lack of better words, or just get it out, Chris. I'm a little constipated, which is really unusual for me, and it's like one of the things my wife teases me about. You have no trouble going to the bathroom. So that made me think about, like, all right, what do I need to do to mitigate this? So I went out, made my daily video, focus on that. And I found a real quick short video by Dr. Berry, which I'm going to share with you guys here shortly, but it'll talk about how do we address that, and how do you get things moving, and why it might be doing that, and and cool things like that. So there was a mistake I made yesterday. I did not intentionally do it. Actually, 2 things I could do better, but one was a mistake. So when I went to eat dinner, my wife had made these really, really delicious taco stuffed avocados, you know, and it just simply is like avocados with a little bit of the avocado scraped out, a decent amount, but not like a crazy amount, maybe half. And then you put the taco, you know, meat inside of it. We make our own taco seasoning too, so you put that in it, and then, you know, have some cheese, and then, you know, there's some, you know, you can put other garnishments on it if you wanted to. I didn't get to it that time because we didn't have any sour cream or anything like that, but you can add to it, and so forth, or do salsa. Like I added some salsa, which really made it, you know, really even better. So, but the mistake I made is that when I looked at the recipe, you know, I was thinking that 2 of these servings were like the, you know, the carb amount, and yeah, and afterwards when I sat down, actually, you know, like keyed it all in and all that, I was like, oh my goodness, I put, wow, I ate a lot of carbs. But the first thing I thought of is that, yeah, that's not my beast mode, you know, range. I know I'm getting into goals, but, you know, it still isn't going to be way off. And the fat content was where I wanted it. Obviously, you saw the macros and all that other stuff. So I guess the moral is pay attention to the, you know, to your recipes, because even when you look at it and go, yeah, it's keto, I may have kind of pushed it a little outside the boundaries. But, you know, some folks, you know, and it's actually true that, you know, under 50 carbs a day, you know, a lot of people would consider keto. So if you're where you want to be, that might be a good maintain, you know, type of dinner and so forth. So, but for me, just pay attention, Chris. So let's move on to the goals here, folks. Okay, so we're at day 16, week 3. So let's see if my pit of success is working here. So if you look at my you know, sheet here, you'll see that, you know, on sleep right off the get-go, I've got 7 and 0 up. I actually feel just fantastic. I mean, it's the best night's sleep. I know these bags will eventually go away as I start to lose weight and sleep even better, but it's definitely headed again in the right direction. Very good. I feel just great. So as far as eating keto, you guys know that I'm fasting right now. I've nicknamed him. His name is Fasty now. So I'm fasting, and so, you know, yesterday was another, you know, good day of fasting. I targeted because I had been hitting that around 2 p.m. Time. So I just kind of used that as like, hey, I think I'm going to try to get to there again. You know, again, not trying to just go like all in and go to dinner yet. So. But I feel that, you know, maybe I could get that within the next week or less. So I had 19 hours and 30 minutes, which is pretty good. That's because I started my fast at like 7 p.m. the night before on that one. So I dropped down from beast the previous day to, you know, best, which again, still great for me. I thought that was really good. As far as style, dirty, clean, I moved myself 1 over because, you know, I'm consistently this week, I'm still doing dirty, clean, emphasis on clean. I wonder if I should flip those, because maybe it should say clean/dirty, you know, to say I want to do clean more. Anyway, so I'm just thinking out loud here. So as far as macros are concerned, I already mentioned earlier, you know, how come I ended up jumping up to 29 carbs. And that could arguably be, you know, 1 or 2 above or below. So I moved myself to the good category on that one because, you know, I dropped out of the beast mode, you know, range for that. That's okay though, because it's still keto. I'm not going to beat myself up. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with my non-movement on the scale. Probably not. But, you know, again, weighing daily is kind of one of those tough things. You know, if you get up when we first started this, or I first started this, it was like drop because, you know, all the water's coming off and stuff. So I expect to have, you know, 0, some weight. Oh, sorry, I should go this way. 0, some weight loss, 0, some weight loss, 0, some weight loss. And if I scaled it down, it would be better like this, like steps. So it'll be fine. So I'm just, you know, hang in there. As far as learning goes, I watched a video yesterday on my search to try to get some relief, you know, on, I think I mentioned that, you know, I was constipated. That's twice, you know, early on in this. I'm drinking plenty of water. I feel like I've got the right amount of electrolytes. Although the electrolytes I'm using are kind of old, I've had them for a while. I did order some new ones, and there's some advice I'm going to take from Dr. Berry that I'll talk about it in the video recommendation here in a second, but something I'm going to try just to kind of see if I can move things along, for lack of better words, because I know when I feel kind of, and you're probably the same way, when you kind of feel just stopped up and stuff like that, and so I just really want to kind of get that resolved. So all right, moving on to the tracking category. Same old, got my journal and logging everything into Chronometer. For a while there, I was only putting like the blood glucose and ketones just on paper here, and same way with weight, but then I started putting that in there too. So everything's getting put into that log to the best of my ability, or into that app along with this. So, and that also tells you, the Chronometer app also will tell you what those macro percentages are too, even though I do calculate them on the side, just because I started doing that, previously to this journey. So meditation and relaxation, just a couple 5 minutes, yesterday, that, something I just, again, try to get in every day. I do feel better on the days that I get like a 10 or 20 or, maybe even a 30 one day. So no exercise yet. Again, sometime in, I don't know how far out, but it'll be sometime within a month or, so. And that's it for my goals, folks. So let's take a look at the video here. Today's video recommendation is another video by Dr. Ken Berry. It's a pretty short video. It's like 6 minutes and 26 seconds or something long, very quick. I was going to do for today another video on fasting, to kind of keep us, moving in that direction. But since I had no movement in another direction, I figured, hey, someone else might be experiencing this, and it would be just a good thing to just bring up quickly. So, if you are, you can address it right away. So the title of the video is Keto and Constipation, 3 Things to Know. So, as with most Dr. Berry videos, they're, he's very, I find him pretty direct and straightforward, and actually kind of funny about his stuff. So he's really good about explaining, like, do this, and so forth. So he has 3 tips in there, but here's some of the highlights from it. I don't want to steal everything from it, but he just talks about like how, when you switch from, other diets to the keto diet, that this is definitely going to affect your bowels. So for me, I remember before, like I had the opposite problem the first, I don't know, it actually lasted like a week or so. The very first time I went into keto, like, 3 or 4 years ago. So, but he was saying that, you're switching from primarily eating a lot of carbs and all this other stuff to now eating, and where do we get most of our food on keto? Well, you're going to get it from meats. So, and he discusses how, meats are extremely well absorbed. He used a really, depending on how you look at it, but a very interesting example of about, like, I think he called it an ostomy bag, not a colostomy bag. I think I heard him correctly, but he was just talking about, like, you could see, like, when the patient would eat like vegetables, a lot of those would come right, would not get processed, parts of them, and then they would come out in the colostomy. But you would never see like a piece of meat come through. I thought that was fairly interesting, and a good way to say that, your body does absorb it a lot better. So you may not, just because you're not seeing a lot doesn't mean you're constipated. So my issue is I didn't see anything, and this is twice it's happened. It's kind of quite unusual for me not to have at least one for the day. So doesn't mean that, I'm necessarily constipated, but I sure feel like I am. But I figured I might as well, take some measures to kind of see if I can help it along. The other thing is that, like I said, you may not be constipated, but what he said is that you may actually expose a magnesium deficiency. So then, he talks, about some of the things you can do, like you can do magnesium citrate, and then you can, switch to doing like, a daily magnesium glycinate or something like that. The citrate, he basically says, when you take magnesium citrate, wait for the thunder, so that is something that I ordered that, I will maybe on occasion try it. I know you can go to the store. I didn't see it there the other day. I wanted to get I didn't actually look in the supplement part, but I did look in the laxative part where it had like, I used to remember those little magnesium citrate, bottles that, you could take every once in a while. Again, I've never had problem with bowels, so it's rare for me to ever have to look for something like that. So he gives you 3 tips, and he even says that, when you do eat, you're going to be, you should be eating low carb veggies. Sometime here shortly I'll have a video on vegetables, but eat some low carb veggies. That'll give you some additional fiber there. So I just wanted to share that just in case you're experiencing what I'm experiencing, and we can see if changing, adding these things will help a little bit and get us moving in the right direction. That's it for the video recommendation today. That's it for day 16, folks. Thank you for watching today's video. Please take time to like and subscribe to Keto with me. If you got any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Just remember, I'm not perfect, so be a coach, not a critic, and take care.